Well, hey, on today's episode, I have my good friend and the technical director over at Grace City Church, Dominic Lopenzo. Technical difficulties with the technical director on this episode today. About halfway through, we did have a mic go out, but you'll still be able to hear it. It's an incredible conversation. Welcome to the show, Dominic Lopenzo. All right, here we are. Dominic, we're live. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, dude. It's cool. We've been friends for like a while now.
Yeah.
Friends since our college. And,
Yeah, so
we did our masters together.
2015.
We knew each other a little bit before the masters, but we really got to know each other when there's only like 5 people in your master's cohort.
For 8 months straight.
Yeah. For 8 months, doing homework together like every single night. That'll really bring somebody together. Yeah.
Traveling, going to El Salvador.
Dude, yeah. Oh,
Disney.
man. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
I tell people, I forget about both of those trips. And what I always tell people it was crazy. I think for me personally, I don't know, I liked both of them. The El Salvador trip was definitely more impactful for me. And it was also cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely the better value.
Yeah. The Disney trip. And I love Disney. I hope they don't revoke my passes for just saying this, but like, it was so much money, and they did like show us the behind the scenes, which I guess was kind of cool. But I remember we did a whole week, and then the very end, the whole they brought in the big guns to give us the final lesson, and it was try, fail, learn. And I'm like, dude, I've heard this from so many people.
Yeah, what was so interesting was because we had who was the older guy in our group?
Was his name Mike?
I think Mike.
Yeah, his name was Mike. Yeah, he owned a bunch of Subways, and also he did something else.
Yeah, I think to him that was like a very
groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of us came from Southeastern, and we noted how much of the Southeastern leadership training was very similar to Disney.
Yeah.
They shared, it's about treating people as people.
Yeah. And then it's cool to look back on. I do give a lot of, props and respect to our time at Southeastern. And even still today, I haven't been there in a while, but there was a lot of great leadership lessons that we learned from there and great teaching from some pretty amazing people. I do think that it's cool to be the big guns at Disney told me something that I had heard so many times on whether it was chapels or leadership teachings or whatever, well, dude, we're sitting here, and right before we talked about this, you have some new ink here.
Oh, yeah.
So I love doing this, especially for an audio-only podcast, just to make people guess, you know? But tell us about your new tat, dude.
Yeah. Should I describe what it looks like?
Yeah, in great detail for everybody that's just trying to imagine this on their drive or wherever they're at.
Okay, so it's basically like a Viking face, but it's split in half at an angle, and then there's a flower. I actually don't know what kind of flower that is. It just looked really cool.
Looks cool, yeah.
Flower that goes in between it, and the way they kind of wove the two images together. It's really cool. It's massive. It literally takes up half my arm.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Over 9 hours.
Split, right? Not in one sitting.
No, it was 6 hours the first day, 4 the second.
Jeez, dude. What'd you do for 6 hours sitting there?
Just sat there.
You didn't watch TV or nothing?
Went on social media occasionally.
Yeah. Small talk.
Yeah, a little bit of small talk. I didn't want to talk to her too much because I didn't want to distract her.
You never know what they want.
Yeah, either. And I asked her ahead of time. I was like, and she's like, "Oh, I don't really care." She's like, "I need you to shut up. I'll tell you politely." And I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." But there were definitely sections where it just got so painful. I needed a distraction. So I just had to start saying something to take my mind off of it. When she got to really not that she did anything wrong, just certain areas just hurt for no reason.
Yeah, the softer part of your skin, dude.
Yeah.
I have one under my arm, and it's literally all soft skin, and it hurt. I remember that, dude. And you're also I don't know about yours was a lady, right? That tattooed you. Mine was this kind of big tough guy, and I'm I was also I think I got this when I was 19 or something like that, and so I'm also trying to feel tough. I'm not trying to look like I'm in pain, but It was tough.
But yeah, that was the same thing. I was like, okay, I gotta look tough. I was like, I can't be getting a Viking tattoo and then complain about pain.
And like be crying
Yeah.
on the other side.
So just like whenever you want to take a break, I'm just like, nope, I'm good. No breaks.
Push through.
Push through the pain.
But it looks cool, dude, man.
Yeah. No, she did an incredible job. Her handle is Manic Motive Tattoos on
And she's
Instagram.
here in Lakeland.
Yeah, she's here in Lakeland. She's on South Side.
Mhm.
Yeah, incredible work. Like it's all like black and grays. There's no color, but it's so detailed. Usually I don't normally like very realistic or like realism tattoos because I think they're so easy to screw up.
Yeah,
But
that's incredible.
Yeah, I'd seen a lot of her stuff. I was like, okay, she can definitely be trusted, and yeah,
No doubt,
she
yeah.
did such a good job with it.
Yeah. And we can tag her stuff too there on the show notes here, but it is really, really good. And what kind of style is that again? Didn't you say it was like a mimic of like a certain style?
So I don't know if it has a name. What inspired this specific like layout was I was looking up Oni mask tattoos
Right.
on Pinterest, and I just noticed a lot of them followed this similar style where the mask was just split in half, and then there would be like a floral design going in between. It looked so cool. So that's when I was like, oh well, let me take that concept and do it with like a Viking face.
Yeah.
Because I know like this is literally nowhere on the internet.
Yeah.
Like this is very unique just to me.
It's sick, dude. It looks great. It makes me jealous. It makes me want my next one. I wish that daycare was less expensive so I could just like go get another one, dude. But it is cool. I have ideas for future ones, but I'm at we were just talking about that. I'm at this point now where I'm like, I think a lot less about the big meaning behind them, and I'm just like, I just think this looks cool.
Yeah,
and I just kind of want it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, that's kind of like the little umbrella. It was like a flash thing. People
cool.
were like, "What like inspired it?" I was like, "Yeah, it looked cool."
It was.
It kind of looks like the album art for a band I like.
Which album? Or which band?
What's it called? Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh yeah.
Man, I wish I could.
Dude, I love this.
You
and I have
fan.
Also, you know so much more than I do, so I'll admit that. Don't quiz me right here. But we've talked about like the hardcore scene and phase and like bands for so long too, dude. Like I being a part of one, like when I was younger too, and being in that scene, dude. I even still now to this day, whenever I'm just like either like on a run, if I really like on a run or working out or just doing something, and I need like a little extra push, I'll go back to like early 2000s, you know, like the hardcore stuff. Yeah. It's great. And it's cool to see those guys like touring again now. I feel like it's all coming back.
Yeah. I think since like post COVID, so many bands came back. So I think, people just missed music so much in general. And, a lot of bands started coming back. They started doing really well. So I think that inspired a lot of others.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Well, like nostalgia, I feel like is big right now. Like with millennials or whoever, it's like, for a while there, I was like, oh, this is not cool anymore. Now the cool thing is too. But for whatever reason, people are like, nah, it's cool that I liked My Chemical Romance back in like 2000s, and I'm going to go see them live,
Well, and thanks to things like TikTok, you have bands like Knocked Loose that are like blowing up, and that genre is finally becoming mainstream.
Yeah.
And so it's like introducing more and more people to the genre. So I think that's why like a lot of these bands are coming back, because now it's they could probably have like a better career with it.
Yeah. Dude, and who are those guys? Lock Shut too. Is that them? Dude, I love their stuff, dude. That gets me going. Yeah. I only know like that. I think they only have like one album or something like that. Probably. I don't think they're like that big, but if you're listening to this, you should go check them out. They're really great. Well, dude, tell me, I want to like hear, like the reason we have you here too is just to learn like a little bit from you. Obviously, I want to get into what like your profession is, and you are great at it. So we'll talk about it in a second, but dude, tell me a little bit about like yourself. I think you're Florida born, right? And kind of what brought you over to Lakeland.
Yeah, so I'm transferred into Southeastern. I think it was around 2013 to finish my undergrad, and second to last semester, I had some career goal changes. So
what was your original major?
My original major was that multidisciplinary studies.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like a theology degree.
Yeah,
and I said just second to last semester, I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. So went back for the MBA, and that was the same time that Grace City started.
Yeah.
So by the time I graduated, I was a part of the church enough. I was like, okay, I'm going to stay here. But while I was at Southeastern, before I moved here, I did go to Daytona State for a couple of years doing audio engineering. So that was how I got into that. When I came to Southeastern, I started working for media services. And
Yeah.
that was where I really fell in love with doing live audio production.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when I graduated with our MBA, I started freelancing. I got a job at House of Blues in Orlando doing audio, and like I said, I kind of stayed in Lakeland because I was a big part of the church, and this is where my community was, and I could easily just drive wherever I needed, whether it was like Tampa, Orlando, while staying here. And when the church started, if you could do anything, they immediately threw you on a team because we just needed everyone. So I was a big part of the production team, part of every major event. And when the guy, my predecessor, Eric Hughes, stepped down, they offered me his job, and that was, I think, 6 years ago. I just hit 6 years.
That's crazy, man.
So
time flies.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, 6 years. But it's cool. I want to get to all that too. Like, tell me, like, it's such a unique thing, and I do think for some people, there's probably not a full awareness to like all that goes on in that whole world of like the audio production and lighting and all that sort of stuff, because you kind of handle all of that, especially for like our church, and then you do that as well for places like House of Blues, Orlando, and stuff like that. When was, I guess, do you remember like when was the first time you got like introduced to it, or you know what I mean? Was it just like, hey, somebody threw you on a soundboard one time? Right. It was like, hey, can you figure this out for us? Or
so I've been playing music since I was in middle school. Picked up bass and guitar probably toward the end of high school, beginning toward the end of high school. And I think like most musicians, I just wanted to learn how to record my stuff. I would write songs. I wanted to know how to record it. So that was how I got into audio engineering.
Yeah.
But when I went to school at Daytona State, it was specifically audio recording, like studio work. That was really the focus, with a little bit of live, but mostly studio. But like I said, when I came to Southeastern, that was when I started doing live music.
Yeah. Just being like, you just came and you were like, oh, this is somewhere I could easily like serve. And you worked for media services, right? Yep. So it was kind of like a job during college as well. Yeah. So just like, oh, I know how to do this. And I'm guessing was that kind of the piece where that grew? Because at the time too with Southeastern, I know like you and I both know, like we were doing some pretty like cool chapels and like with lights and audio. And I think there was more of a focus of it. And then, so was that kind of when that grew to the passion for it?
Yeah. Like I said, it was through doing all those different events where I was like, oh, I really love the kind of like the exhilaration and also the stress of live production. I think there's just a different, it's just fun. It's like, you only have the one show. So, when you're doing like studio recording, like you can spend hours upon hours tweaking, getting everything perfect, but you don't get that option when it's live. Like you have to, you get one shot. A lot of times you don't even have a lot of time, so you got to do it quickly. And so I think that's where, to me, it's just like more fun.
Yeah.
And I tell people it's not so much about perfection. It's just about the feel. Like it doesn't have to be a perfect show, but if the audience loved it, if the band loved it, then that's all that matters.
And I'm sure it has a lot to do like thinking quick on your feet.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. When something breaks, especially if we're like mid-service, something goes down for a few seconds, it feels like an eternity.
I've seen you hustle out of that booth before many times.
You've got to think quickly. You got to stay calm, and you got to think quickly. Try to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah.
If you can't figure out a real solution, what can get you through your event till you can find like the proper, what kind of Band-Aid could you put over it so you can fix it.
Yeah, and get through. Yeah. Dude, so maybe for the people listening to this, like I think we've talked about it for so long, I feel like I'm learning more and more, but like for someone who has that idea, which I'm sure there many are, whether it's in the church context or outside of that, it's like there's this thought of, oh, you just turn a board on and you just like put up this microphone, and then you can just kind of walk away because everything's on. Like there's far more to it. I guess how would you start to like kind of walk through somebody with that novice of like level to help them understand of like, oh, there's so much more that goes into this?
Yeah. So that's a good question. I think first, just kind of having people watch me do it and see that I'm doing a lot more than just pushing up a fader. And then, there's never a set it and forget it. Every single week, I've got a different band. So it's like I gotta adapt to what they're coming in with that week. I have to re-EQ. There's a lot of stuff I have to do every single week. So I think by people watching me and just seeing, even during service, I always tell people like you have to be very proactive. So while, you know, I'm probably only looking at the stage maybe half the time because I'm looking down if I, you know, I'm checking things, making sure nothing's coming in too loud, making sure, you know, all of my processors are working, or if I hear something that I want to change, you know, maybe say for instance, like when a singer is singing in a verse and they're singing low, a lot of times they're going to sing quieter. They're going to overcompensate by getting closer to the microphone. It changes the way their voice sounds. So I'll go in and I'll adjust it, but then we'll get to a chorus where they're singing a lot differently, and then maybe I have to undo some things. So I'm doing a lot throughout to get a very nice sounding vocal, very clear vocal.
Yeah, but that's the thing too that I don't think a lot of people realize is there's more to than just turning the volume up. There's actually the ability that you have. And I know there's like science behind all this kind of stuff, and maybe you can explain it, but like that, there's a way for us to get as clear as possible. Like, how can this actually sound, even to when just one person is speaking through a mic, but when a whole band is like playing together. I mean, you do play the audio part of it plays such a crucial piece in the whole overall experience that, you know, in one way, like when you go see a concert, like, like everybody has a good time and they enjoy the music and it sounds great. It sounds like what they're expecting. But then two, like in the church setting, you really set the stage and the atmosphere for somebody to have an encounter with God in that moment. You know, like there's such a big role to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of people may not know like what goes into making audio sound good, but everyone knows when audio sounds bad.
Yeah.
So it's like when you have something that sounds bad, and there could be a lot of reasons. Maybe the room just doesn't sound good, and you know the room plays a very big part in how it sounds. You know, I've been to venues that have very expensive PA systems and very poor room acoustics, and it still sounds bad. PA is another. So there's so many factors that go into it. They all play together. I wouldn't say any one has like priority. But yeah, when you don't have a lot of those situations that are good, you know, a lot of times people will put up with it because, you know, there's not much you can always do sometimes, or, you know, they don't know how to get to something better. But I think a lot of churches would say like, oh yeah, like it's fine, but we don't really like how things sound. Like people know, even though they don't know why, they know it doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel good. Maybe it's like painful to listen to. Maybe there's not enough clarity. You know, things aren't very balanced. So people do know when it doesn't sound good.
100%, dude. And it's so unique. It's like there's the 2 points there. Like I've even noticed how much goes into the work and equipment that is necessary to make it all sound great. Like obviously there's the work piece, and that is huge, but like having the right equipment and in the right placement, like for our building now. And obviously our church is going to be moving into a really great situation when the new building is here. But like I often sit like over to the far right side, you know, where a lot of like the team sits and all that stuff. And just like a week or just maybe a couple of days ago, actually, no, this was like couple weeks ago, but like I sat in the middle, and I don't often do that, but just the sound difference from like sitting over like 20, not even 20 feet away was huge. And I realized it's like, because I'm actually sitting in probably a more optimal space where the speakers sit.
Yeah. I mean, when you design a PA system, like you want the best coverage, like most smooth coverage, but like sometimes like maybe you're slightly outside the PA, or like if you sit too close to the wall, you know, I've had people say like, oh, it sounds like the bass is too loud. And the first thing I say is like, well, where are you sitting? And they're like, oh, we're right next to the wall. I'm like, well, that's why.
Dude, I've been in that cove, that doorway that's right over there, like during prayer time or whatever. And then the bass will hit and it's like rocks my body, dude.
Yeah. The way low frequencies build up against like solid walls, those solid objects, drastically affect. And then again, that's why I'm like, well, where are you in the room?
Right.
Tell me that first. And then I can be like, or if you're in the middle, you know, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's too loud.
Yeah. Dude, you should do seating. Not that you want to. You should be the one seating. Like people,
I'll have my own seat chart. Like,
what are you looking for? A lot of bass? A lot of, okay, you're going to want to sit right here.
All right, you want it nice and loud? Okay, center.
Yeah. Dude, that's cool. Well, dude, I'd love to, I'm going to kind of split this because there's two cool factors. First, we'll kind of focus on like what you do church-wise. Then obviously the concerts and the bigger shows are really cool. But I'm sure what's unique about your role is there's such a balance that you probably play at the church of, you know, there's a lot of work that you do to put into every single Sunday in the preparation. I know with lighting and audio and all that stuff, lighting's probably a pretty big piece of your week too, and preparing that. But helping everything to set a stage for somebody to have a great experience while also being on the somewhat like pastoral side of things too, of like, hey, I'm leading up a team and training people on how to do this and why it's important.
Yeah.
Like how, I guess one, like how do you balance that? And I guess what have you learned from it, you know?
So I think one of the things that I think I've been very fortunate that a lot of the people that have joined my team have been very hardworking. I guess that's kind of like the interesting about production is it kind of like sorts out the good from the bad naturally because it is so much work. I do ask anybody that's on my team. They're at all 3 services.
Yeah.
So we're getting there at 7 a.m. They're there for all 3 services because
Commitment.
It's a big commitment, and I try to not overschedule.
All right, we had something weird happen with the recording, but we're going to pick up on that that question that Dominic was answering. Yeah, so you have a lot of hardworking people on your team.
Yeah.
And yeah, for 3 services, yeah.
Yeah, so they're there for all 3 services. They're volunteers. They're not paid. They have other jobs going on, and then they give up half their Sunday for me. So I think one of the things I just try to do, I just try to just be very relational to them. Ask them what's going on in life. And then when I see them again, oh, how's that thing you told? I'm not just asking generic questions to make them feel heard. Like I'm actually taking an interest and following up with what's going on with them. Occasionally we try to do like volunteer hangouts where everyone can just hang, just show up. And again, it's just to show that we appreciate them. And I think that relational aspect has helped because we have a few people that have been on the team for quite a number of years. Usually, I think for the most part, anyone that's like no longer on the team they've like moved away.
Yeah.
I haven't.
That's cool.
I haven't had anyone just straight up quit on me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and dude, what you trying to say this, and hopefully this makes sense too, is like your type of role. There is not only so much work that goes into it, but there's so much learning on like how to do this correctly. Like, and no knock to the people who are holding signs on, outside or helping in the parking team. They're great. We need those people too, but there's probably less of a learning curve and an importance, not importance, that's probably the wrong word, but just like of how we need this to work to actually operate like on a Sunday, like an actual service,
Yeah. So I try to make everything as simple as possible. I think audio, at least like front of house, which is what the congregation is hearing, that I would say that's like the hardest role I have. There's no easy way to do it, but as far as like the LED wall, lighting, even live stream to an example, I try to make it where it's easy to follow. Now, yeah, some of those areas will still require a few weeks of training, and I kind of lay that out. Like if someone's doing lighting, it typically takes about 3 to 4 weeks before they feel comfortable to be doing it by themselves.
Sure.
But and again, because like I said, a lot of these people don't work production for their full-time jobs. So I don't want them coming in and feeling stressed out about trying to operate the equipment. I want to make it easy so that they can just show up, do their job, but also like enjoy the service and be able to enjoy what's going on.
Yeah, and you don't want them to, because I know we've talked about this before. I'm sure you feel sometimes like if something goes wrong, which is naturally going to happen, you're going to feel it a little bit, even though you probably have nothing to do with it. It just stuff happens. It's just a very noticeable thing that happens. You know what I mean?
And I think when those things go wrong, I always tell people like whenever there's a mistake, I put it in 2 categories. Is it something I noticed? Is it something the congregation noticed? If it's something the congregation noticed, that's a big problem. Let's address it. If it's something I noticed, then it's like, okay, we made a mistake. Like let's just talk. Like I don't try to like condemn anyone and be like, oh, why did you do that? And I think a big thing that plays into that is also Andrew's kind of like I guess like mindset with volunteers. Like there's a lot of grace.
Yeah.
Hence the name. But there is a lot of grace for volunteers. Like we all understand we're giving up our time to do this. So when they hit the wrong button and the wrong light goes off, Nobody's screaming, and I think that also helps with longevity of a team of like, people can have, and I try to encourage people, like Andrew says, like make mistakes moving forward, like when volunteers they're trying to grow in their skill of whether it's lighting, they're like, oh, I tried this thing and it didn't work. I'm just like, yeah, okay, it's cool that you're trying, it's cool that you're wanting to get better.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like it's not detrimental. The church went on, moved on. Yeah,
we still had service.
That's such a wise thing the way to think about it, dude. Because there can be a thing about you that is like, oh, frustrated, something didn't go right, this looks bad on me, whatever, yada yada. But luckily, like obviously our pastor is such grace with that and such a great mindset with it. But also, you're right, like dude, these people are, they're going to work Monday through Friday. They don't have the time. It's not like their main focus, and they're giving up their Sunday to really help and believe in the mission of the church. And so it's cool, man. Well, dude, there's also, so the key of that for the church now moving over to what you've been able to do, just touring and like fun wise and stuff like that with bands. What, I guess I'd love to hear this, and we'll get into some of them. Like, what is your favorite show that you have? I don't know if it's recent or not, but I feel like maybe I know the answer to this, but your favorite show that you've ran sound and audio for?
Ran sound and audio. Oh, okay, so over summer, we had a ska band come through called the Aquabats.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
They're an old ska band from the 90s. It's a lot of people. It's funny. It's a very kid-friendly show. They have actual like superhero costumes. There's so many gimmicks. They came through House of Blues. And when I'm there, I'm typically a monitor engineer, which means I'm mixing what the band is hearing on stage.
Yeah.
So when they come through, when that particular band came through, they didn't have their own monitor engineer or anything. So I actually got to mix for all of them, and it was really fun. The band loved it. Like even their TM or their tour manager came up to me afterwards and was talking about like how much they enjoyed it. And
that's
again,
cool.
A band that's been around for 30 years. To impress them, you got to do something right.
That's cool though, yeah. So for you, it's like the ones that stand out are more so when like the band and the people are just awesome to work with, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. It's like you either talk about people because they were really fun to work with, or they were really difficult to work with.
Yeah, we were
definitely have both of those.
Literally just talking about that. So I just recorded an episode right before you got here, and this, for people listening to this, it'll be the week prior with Bobby. But we were talking about like, man, there's times where it's like I don't want to, like, you have heroes and you're like, there's a part of me that doesn't want to meet my heroes because it's like I have this great impression of you in my mind right now. I don't want that to be ruined.
Yeah.
Has that happened to you?
Not that I know of.
You don't have to out anybody, but
I really don't think. I don't think there's, because I don't really get to work with the bands too much. So a lot of times when a band comes through House of Blues, especially if they're a larger band, they will usually have their own crew, and I'm interacting with their crew to make sure they have what they if they need help from us. So I don't get to see the band as much.
Yeah.
But occasionally, like last Friday, we had a show, and one of the people playing was John 5. John 5 used to play for Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. He's a wild guitar player, dude. He's so good.
But he was so friendly.
Yeah.
Like at one point, it was just him and a drummer, and I was setting up something for the drums, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I don't know if this is like too premature if I can ask you this." He's like, "But this, like, here's some things I want for my monitor mix."
Yeah.
And I was like so blown away that he was like basically asking permission to like tell me what he needs. Like if he had just walked up and just demanded it.
Here's what I want.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought differently, to be honest. But
yeah. Well, that's cool to hear. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, no, that, especially like coming from the bands he's toured with, for him to be such like a friendly dude.
And I love that too, dude. It kind of comes back to what we talked about in this episode, the week prior. But like, it's cool to see people who have accomplished a lot and still have like some humility and like kindness to them. Like, okay, I get it. Like you tour a lot, you travel the world and all that, but like you're still like a nice person too to like actually work with.
Yeah.
So are you mostly? So I know you're House of Blues. You've also kind of done some gigs around, like, right? Is there anywhere else that you're like more stable at, or is it just kind of like certain shows that pop up here and there? Or?
Yeah, it's kind of, that's kind of the fun thing about freelance, and also like the negative of it is it's a little more sporadic.
Yeah.
So there's not as much routine, but I do have a handful of companies that I work with on occasion when they need me. The one of the latest ones I just added to my roster is Danny Wimmer Presents.
Yeah.
They put on Welcome to Rockville, which takes place in Daytona. Massive festival. They had like Green Day and Linkin Park as headliners. Like it's
awesome.
a huge festival, and the way I got connected with that was the guy who's now their production director used to be one of the stage managers at House of Blues. You know, I met that guy 8 or 9 years ago. We just became friends, and you know, as the time went on, you know, he sees more of my work, more of my experience, to the point where he's like, hey, like, do you want to come be a stage manager at Rockville? Which is actually something I'd never done. So it was very stressful, but yeah, so that's kind of how it is. It's like you just meet people along the way, just kind of maintain those connections. Always be a good worker, but also be like somebody that people want to be around.
Yes.
And then they'll
it's great advice.
On the road where it's like, hey, I've got this band, or I've got this event. We need someone. Like, do you want to jump on? Yeah,
that's such great advice, dude. I love what you said there. Like, there's equal parts of like, for like that field in particular too. It's so much about relationship. I do think honestly, so much about life is like relationships, and not like, I know how this could probably be misconstrued, but it's not about relationships that'll get you to the next place or that'll help you get like a promotion or whatever, or get you noticed, but just like actually stewarding like any relationship as if it could be one, like, you know, just because it's the sake of like it's a person, it's another human being, you know. And also too, to that, as like not just working because, you know, you want people to notice you, or just like, you know, halfway doing it, but actually like working and doing stuff well. Dude, like you could feel like you could leave an event, I'm sure, and you probably have done this, where it's like you can leave an event and you have worked your butt off and you feel like you didn't really get to talk to anybody, but there's so many people who noticed, okay, man, like Dominic's such a great worker. He's the kind of person we want to have on the next, you know, show.
Yeah, I mean, even back at Rockville, it's funny. My stage was so physically far away from everything else because it's massive. It's at the International Speedway, so I basically just lived at the stage. I never interacted with anyone else other than my stagehands, which they kind of changed day to day, but I had one labor, I can't remember his title, but he was basically like the labor supervisor. Him and a forklift operator. So I interacted with them every single day, and same thing, just like being relational, as like learning everyone's name, like calling people by their names.
It's huge.
Asking them about their life, and so over those 4 days we worked together, you know, it was a lot of hard work, and then it was like, you know, just building those connections, and then, you know, the labor foreman comes up to me on the last day. I guess he knows a couple of the other like high ups in Danny Wimmer Presents, and he says like, hey, I ran into this guy. He's like, I gave you a good review. Told him like how good of a job you're doing, and again, I didn't have to ask him to do that. I didn't know he even knew that guy. So it's like I didn't have any intention other than just trying to be friendly with this dude.
It's good though,
especially because, you know, it's going to be a very stressful work environment for 4 days.
And
so it's like I just want to have good relationships with people, and then, you know, if it leads to something, it does. If it doesn't, you know, it's
you can leave that whole conversation being like, oh, I was a nice person. You know what I mean? Just like cared about them. It's crazy. I think people sometimes get so in their own head about like, oh, should I like start up conversation, or should I ask them how they're doing? Like, is it going to be like, am I going to get on their nerves or whatever? It's like, no, everybody loves that. Everybody loves being asked like, hey, how are you doing? Or like I don't think there's a person out there, maybe I'm wrong, but like that doesn't just like being cared about, you know, by anybody. And so like what you did was great. And I do think there's truth to that of, man, like you just, and it's honestly like the way that I think that Christ calls us to live is just being honoring, being kind, being friendly, you know, caring. And not just because this person can do something for me or because they believe exactly the way I do, but just because they're another human, you know? I love that, dude. Well, dude, thank you so much, man. This was awesome. I love like sitting here and chatting with you. I'm glad we finally got to make this happen, dude. Yeah. All right. We'll have to do it again sometime.